Jaya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Gaurachandra Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Gadadhar Jaya Srinivas Jaya Mukunda Vasudevi Jaya Haridas.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the third chapter, the glories of Srila Haridas Thakur. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. One day meets Haridas Thakur, and in the course of discussion, Mahaprabhu asks Haridas Thakur, Haridase kolikale yavane apar, go brahmana himsa kare mahadurachar. Haridas, in Kali Yuga, yavan apar, those who break the regulatory principles or bereft of Vedic culture are unlimited. Go brahmana himsa kare mahadurachar, and they are all committing violence towards go and brahmana. Mahadurachar, they engage in various sins and sinful acts. So Prabhupada writes, who is a yavan? One who is against the behavior of Vedic principles is yavan. So Prabhupada was going with his disciples, and the disciples suddenly pointed to Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, just see, so many hippies are playing inside the mud without any clothes, and their whole body is filled with mud, and there are many pigs also, and they are playing with the pigs in the mud. Srila Prabhupada, will they become pigs in the next life? Prabhupada said, why next life? In this life only they are pigs only. They are behaving like that. So one who behaves against the Vedic principles is a yavan. And Prabhupada said, it does not matter whether he is inside or outside of India. And they are violent killers of cows and Brahminical culture. So therefore, Mahaprabhu tells Haridas Thakur, Iha sabar kona mate hoibe nistar, tahar hetu na dekhiye e dukha apar. O Haridas, Iha sabar kona mate hoibe nistar. How will all these yavanas be delivered? Tara hetu na dekhiye. I do not see any solution for their deliverance. And e dukha apar, and this is giving me great pain. E dukha apar means Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in great pain, anxiety and lamentation. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, every Indian's duty is to take this cause of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very seriously and help Krishna consciousness movement to the best of their ability. Then they will be considered real followers of Mahaprabhu. Aministarite tomar iha agaman parama dayalu tumi patita pavan. You have appeared mainly to deliver me because you are Patita Pavan. And what is Patita? Veda Nishtha Madhye Ardheka Veda Mukhe Mane Veda Nishidha Papa Kore Dharma Nahi Gane. One who knows what should be done, still deliberately disobeys, is Patita. And therefore in India, people are aware of these principles. but still going on opening slaughterhouses to the extent that India has become the world's #1 beef exporter. What a horrible situation we are in. Mahanta swabhava ei tarite pamar nija karya nahi tabu jatara ghar. And therefore Mahatmas are supposed to travel around and spread this consciousness, transform people's consciousness and connect them to Krishna. So, here it is described that some Vaishnavas, Prabhupada says, enviously refuse to cooperate with this movement, condemn it in so many ways. Prabhupada is writing in his purport, Bhaktivedanta purport. We are very sorry to say that these people try to find fault with us, being unnecessarily envious of our activities. Although we are trying to the best of our ability to introduce Krishna conscious movement directly into the countries of the Yavanas and the Mlechas. Such Yavanas and Mlechas are coming to us and becoming purified Vaishnavas who follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada says, conclusion, one who identifies himself as a follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should feel like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Iha sabara konmate hoibe nistar. How will these Yavanas be delivered? So are you a follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? If yes, this should be your anxiety. How will these Yavanas be delivered? Not that, oh, we are now following nicely, so let us continue. No. Anyone who is not following the Vedic principles, that should give us anxiety. How to make them follow? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always anxious to deliver the fallen souls because their fallen condition gave them a lot of unhappiness. Like that. So therefore, when Prabhupada first went to America and he was trying to open his preaching in Mr. Mishra's studio, right? What Mishra? What was the first name? So, he was a yoga teacher. Okay, and he was running the Ananda Ashram. And Prabhupada went there. And Prabhupada was very much affectionate to him, although Mishra's philosophy was not exactly Vaishnava. But Prabhupada was teaching and giving help. And when Mishra was sick, Prabhupada personally cooked, took care of him, nursed him back to health. And on a human level, Prabhupada was very kind. And Prabhupada one day told this Mishra, Mr. Mishra, Prabhupada said, you should help to spread Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement in the West. He said, why? Prabhupada said, because your name is Mishra and Lord Chaitanya's father's name was Mishra. Jagannath Mishra. You both have common name. So therefore I think you should help. So that Mishra got confused. What was the connection? But Prabhupada was trying his level best to convince anybody and somebody who can help. That was the level of his anxiety. And therefore, how will all these Yavanas be delivered? That is a major anxiety. Prabhupada was called for a big rock show. And many of the devotees who were at that time said, there will be too much of drugs, rock and roll. It is not a good place for you to go. But Prabhupada said, they are calling us and they are allowing us to do kirtan, so we should go. That is the main consideration. How will these Yavanas be delivered? So Prabhupada went. When he entered the room was filled with smoke, not agarbatti. It was all smoke of drugs. And then Prabhupada tried to see what was on the stage. And Prabhupada saw people were dancing with yellow banana-like shaped dress. And Prabhupada said, what is this going on? They said, this is banana dance. Prabhupada said, what is banana dance? They said, they just found that if you take banana peel and put fire under it, you inhale the smoke, you get the same effect as LSD at much cheaper price. So because of finding this out, they are celebrating with banana dance. So Prabhupada started laughing that in India, I saw so many users of banana. Never heard about this. And then Prabhupada did kirtan, and when he came back, Prabhupada was still laughing about how before coming to America, he did not even imagine what he will find here. And then one devotee said, the hippies have made an offer every day, they want to give 2 boxes of banana to Jagannath on one condition, they want the peels back. What should we do? So Prabhupada started laughing. He said, well, the main thing is they want to offer something to Jagannath, let us take it. Otherwise, normally, I would not consider this. The only anxiety is, Iha samara kona mate, hoibe nistar. Somehow or the other, how can they be delivered? So this should be the mentality of a preacher in Krishna consciousness. When the preacher gets up in the morning, what should he think? Iha sabara ko namate hoibe nistar, tahara hetu na dekhiye, e dukkha apar. A preacher's unlimited distress is only this, that how can these yavanas be delivered? Tahar hetu na dekhiye. So Haridas Thakur responds, Hari Dasa kahe Prabhu, Chinta na koriha, yavanera samsara dekhi, dukkha na bhaviha. My dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. Do not be unhappy seeing the condition of these yavanas. Yavanera samsara dekhi, dukkha na bhaviha. So, Prabhupada mentions Haridas Thakur's consciousness should be the consciousness of a devotee who has dedicated his life to the life and soul, to the service of the Lord. A devotee who has dedicated his life and soul in the service of the Lord, his consciousness should be this. Haridasa kahe Prabhu, chinta na kariha. A dedicated devotee in Mahaprabhu's movement should be able to tell Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Guru Parampara, chinta na kariha. You do not be in anxiety. Yavanera samsara dekhi, dukkha na bhaviha. So Prabhupada writes a beautiful point. Prabhupada says, what is the definition of seva? What does seva mean? What does service mean? All the time we are running around saying, give me seva, give me seva, give me seva. What is seva? Prabhupada defines. When the Lord is unhappy because of the condition of the fallen souls, the devotee consoles him, saying, my dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. This is service. Not that we say, do not be in anxiety, and we also go to sleep. My dear Lord, you don't be in anxiety. Don't put me in anxiety also. You be happy, I be happy. When the Lord is unhappy because of the condition, the devotee consoles him by saying, do not be in anxiety. Right? Do not be in anxiety means, I will help you. So therefore, everyone, next point Prabhupada says, everyone should adopt the cause of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to try to relieve him from the anxiety he feels. So relieving someone from their anxiety is actual service. Not just shaking hands and legs. One who tries to relieve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's anxiety for the fallen souls is a most dear and confidential devotee of the Lord. To blaspheme such a devotee who is trying his best to spread the cult of Mahaprabhu is the greatest offense. Prabhupada says, again, Prabhupada's heart is coming out because of criticisms he is receiving. To blaspheme such a devotee who is trying his best to spread the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the greatest offense. And here the last line, one who does so is simply awaiting punishment for his envy. So then, Haridas Thakur tells why he is saying do not be in anxiety. Mahapreme bhakta kahe harama harama jabaner bhagya dekhe laye se nama. Mahapreme bhakta kahe, a devotee in advanced ecstatic love exclaims, O my Lord Ram, O my Lord Ram, haram haram. Yavaner bhagya dekha. Just see the good fortune. Because Yavanas are also chanting haram, haram. And because of chanting haram, haram, they get the benefit of chanting haram. Damstri damshra hatom blecho harameti puna puna. Uktvapi muktim apnoti kim puna shraddhaya granan. Uktvapi muktim apnoti. As soon as they say this, they get delivered. And so also Ajamil. Mriyamano harenam granaputro pacharitam ajamilopya gaddhama kim punushadhaya granan. Ajamil did not chant the holy names Mriyamano only at the time of death, not full life. Called his son, not the Lord. Breaking regulatory principles, not following. And Ajamil never heard about the glories of the holy name. Still he got the benefit. And therefore, Ajamil is a great example of how one can receive the benefit of chanting the holy names. And therefore, when Mahaprabhu is traveling to South India, Agyamala paya horshe namaskar kori Anande dakshina deshe chale gaur hari. Mahaprabhu takes the blessings of Lord Jagannath on his way to the South India tour to distribute the glories of the holy name. Matta simha praye prabhu korila gaman prema beshe yaya kori nama sankirtan. And Mahaprabhu is chanting the holy names at the top of his lungs, just like the roaring of a lion, destroying the sinful desires within the hearts of those who hear that chanting. Chaudike te sabaloka bole hari hari prema veshe madhye nritya kore gaur hari. And as Mahaprabhu chants the holy name, inundating everyone in that flood, the sinful desires within everybody's hearts dissipate, and pure love of God erupts within the heart. And that is Mahaprabhu's mission. Shuniya janga mera hoye samsara kshaya sthabare se shabda lage pratidhvani hoye. Haridas Thakur says, don't think only moving beings chant the holy names, even trees they chant. Trees they chant? How can trees chant? Pratidhvani nahe se karaya kirtan tomara kripaya e akathya kathan. When we chant the holy names in the middle of a forest and we hear the echo, that echo is not an echo, It is the chanting by the trees. They are also consciously chanting. And therefore, Thakur Haridas concludes, Sakala Jagata Hoye Uchcha Sankirtan Shuniya Premaveshe Nache Sthavara Jangam. Simply by hearing the holy names, all moving and non-moving beings are dancing in ecstatic devotional service. And all these incidents have been witnessed by Balabhadra Bhattacharya when you were on the way to Vrindavan through Jharikhand forest. And your devotee Vasudev Datta submitted his plea, and you accepted that. And therefore, my dear Lord, why are you in anxiety about deliverance of all the souls of this world when you yourself have brought the solution for it? Chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Haridas Thakur says, do not worry, my dear Lord. The number of souls with the sinful tendencies is unlimited. Before the old souls pass away, new will come in. And Ramchandra, when he appeared, he delivered the entire Ayodhya. He filled Ayodhya again with living entities. When Krishna descended in Vrindavan, that time also he delivered the whole universe in the same way. And therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is there to deliver all moving and non-moving living entities simply by His divine grace. That is the power of the mercy of the Supreme Lord and His reciprocation. Ei rupe achandale kirtana sanchare Nama prema malagati podela sansare. And Lord is garlanding the entire universe with the prema and with the nama. You, like Lord Krishna descending in Navadvip, have delivered all the living entities. But I have only one conclusion, my dear Lord. Thakur Haridas says, what? Tomar ye leela maha amritera sindhu mora mana gochar nahe tara ek bindu. Your pastimes are just like an unlimited ocean of nectar. Mora mana gochar nahe tara ek bindu. But my mind is not able to come near and fathom even one drop of it. Mahaprabhu was astonished and he started thinking, these are my confidential pastimes. How does Haridas Thakur know about all this? And greatly satisfied by the statements of Haridas Thakur, Mahaprabhu embraced him. And in this way, Mahaprabhu went to his personal associates and started speaking the divine qualities of Haridas Thakur as if he had 100 mouths. Bhaktera guna kahite prabhura hridaya ullas bhaktagana sreshthtate Shri Haridas. So Mahaprabhu gets great pleasure in describing his devotees' good qualities. Bhaktagana guna kahite prabhur badhaye ullas. Lord's ullas grows when he glorifies his devotees. Bhaktaguna kahite prabhur badhaye ullas. Bhaktagana sreshthtate Shri Haridas. And amongst the devotees, the best and the most prominent was Thakur Haridas. The qualities of Thakur Haridas are innumerable and almost impossible to describe. Vrindavan Das Thakur has described some of those qualities to some extent. Whatever has not been described by Vrindavan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Mangal, I will try to describe here. Ore moodha loka shuna Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Janibe Sakal. So Vrindavan Das Thakur has been glorified by Kaviraj Goswami as his Guru. And he says, Bhagavata yata siddhantera sar tate jani kaha iya karya uddhar. And all the principles in Chaitanya Bhagavata are just like Srimad Bhagavat only. Manushya rachite nare aiche granta dhanya. Manushya has not written this. And who has written this? It has been written by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only. Vrindavan Dasa Mukhe Vakta Sri Chaitanya. Vrindavan Das Thakur is simply the instrument, but the actual author is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now, Thakur Haridasa's glories are described by Kaviraj Goswami in this chapter. And primarily, 4 pastimes are described. One pastime, the first pastime begins now, when Haridas Thakur was staying in the forest of Benapole. So Benapole is currently on the India-Bangladesh border. On this side of India border, on that side is Benapole, on this side is Haridaspur. So currently, today, the number 1 tourist inflow in India is Delhi. The border crossing in India. Immigration, foreign tourist arrival, FTA. So the number 1 tourist traffic entering India is Delhi, second is Mumbai, third is Haridaspur. So Thakur Haridas is famous in another way, in the tourism circuit. So if you go on the India tourism website, you will see Haridaspur. They don't know who is Haridas. All they know is maximum Bangladesh arrivals come by road through there. So that is the story which begins now about Haridas Thakur's pastimes here at Benapole. Nirjana vane kutir kori tulasi seban ratri dina teen laksha nama Sankirtan. So Haridas Thakur, he had very simple life. Simple living, no time for thinking. Ratri dine 3 laksha nama Sankirtan. 3 lakh nama Sankirtan. Nirjana vane, in a secluded forest, kutira kori, he had made a cottage, tulasi rasevan. So these are the 2 things which Haridas Thakur's character emphasize. Chant holy names in front of tulasi. The potency of this is very powerful. Therefore, in our ISKCON temples japa sessions, we try to keep Tulasi Maharani while doing the japa. Next. Brahmanera ghare kore bhiksha nirvahan prabhave sakala loka karaye pujan. The interesting thing is, even if you simply sit and chant, still you can become influential. Brahmanera ghore kore bhiksha nirvahan. How was he maintain himself? Whatever 2 hours he was getting, God knows when he would go to do bhiksha. with this kind of schedule. He would go around and do some bhiksha in Brahmana's house, and prabhave sakala loka karaye pujan. And because of his influence, because of his spiritual potency, prabhave sakala loka kare pujan, everybody started worshipping him, respecting him. So Prabhupada mentions, why Brahmanera ghare kore? Why in Brahmana's house only he is going and begging? Because in previous times, Brahmanas would always have Shaligram Shila. And they would worship Shaligram Shila. Therefore, whatever food was cooked was offered to the Shaligram, and prasadam was guaranteed. That is the reason. Now if you go, there is no guarantee. You may go to Brahmana's house and they may be eating tambaku. They may be smoking gold flake. Right? And then you go and tell them about golden avatar and see whether their life transforms. Warning for a devotee, not to take food from anywhere, not to live unnecessary luxurious lives at the cost of others. Then Prabhupada writes, Grihasthas living within the jurisdiction of the temple must be especially careful not to imitate karmis by acquiring opulent clothes, food and conveyance. A member of the temple, whether brahmachari, sannyasi or grihastha, must practice life of renunciation following in the footsteps of Thakur Haridas and the six Goswamis. Otherwise, because Maya is very strong, at any time one may become victim of Maya and fall down from spiritual life. At this point there was a landlord there at the time whose name was Ramchandra Khan. He was envious of the Vaishnavas and was therefore an atheist. So he could not tolerate how much respect Thakur Haridas was getting. So he was thinking, what should I do and how should I make Haridas Thakur fall? So at that point he started thinking, Kona prakare Haridasera chidra nahi pae beshagane ani kore chidrera upay. So he called all the prostitutes and he said, we should try to find a fault in Thakur Haridas. So Prabhupada says in the purport, there are many enemies of Krishna conscious movement who are trying to stop. But the reason it is spreading is, number one, it is the desire of Lord Chaitanya, and number two, it is the grace of Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, we should never feel proud that it is because of my seva things are moving in ISKCON. Things are moving because it is the desire of Srila Prabhupada and the grace of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says, enemies of this movement unnecessarily try to find fault in it. Exactly like the old rascal Ramchandra Khan, who opposed Haridas Thakur. तो वो 72-74 पीरियड में कुछ तो चल रहा था लगता है ज़्यादा. So a lot of comments are coming in the purports. वैश्यगणे कहे ए बैरागी हरिदास तुम्हें सब कर इह वैराग्य धर्मनाश. So just see how demoniac Ramchandra Khan is. ए वैरागी हरिदास तुम्हें सब कर वैराग्य धर्मनाश. You destroy his vairagya. And therefore, Prabhupada says, they know how to break a man's vow by influences. They pollute a mendicant available as alternative to free mingling. So one attractive girl was selected and she said, I will attract the mind of Thakur Haridas. And she said, within 3 days. She gave deadline also. So Ramchandra Khan said, okay, my constable will go with you. And when you manage to attract him and you are together, he will come in and arrest. So she says, first, let me go and have a union with him, and then next time he can come. So the prostitute dressed herself attractively. And then she offered obeisances to Thakur Haridas inside his kutir as he was chanting his japa. She stood there. And she saw that Thakur Haridas is completely absorbed in chanting, so she wanted to attract his attention. And so she said, Thakur tumi parama sundar prathama yavan, toma dekhi kona nari dhorite pariman. That, oh Thakur, you are so beautiful. Who can resist enjoying with you after seeing your beauty? Tomar sangam lagi lubdha moraman, tomana paile prana najaya dharan. My mind is becoming greedy to enjoy with you. If I cannot enjoy with you, I will give up my life. Please respond. So just imagine, it is the middle of the night, completely secluded forest. Thakur Haridas is sitting and chanting, and this beautiful prostitute is coming in and she is offering this to Haridas Thakur. We should not imagine too much, but just imagine the glory of Thakur Haridas's absorption. Haridas kahe toma karimu angikar, Sankhya nama samapti yavat na hoye amar. So he does not immediately say no. He says, Toma karimu angikar, I will accept you. But when Sankhya nama samapti javat na hoye amar, I have taken a vow of chanting the names and the number I have taken vow, it is not completed. My rounds are not finished. That is the only problem. He says, Tavat tumi vasi suna nama sankirtan nama samapti hoile karimu je tomar man. So he does not immediately reject her. He says, Tavat, till then, tumi vasi, you just sit. Shuna nama sankirtan, you hear the chanting. And Nama samapte hoile. When the chanting of holy names is complete, when that happens, Kori mujhe tomaraman, I will do whatever you say. So when the mind proposes, enjoy like this, enjoy like that. So this is the answer we have to give to the mind. So every single moment our mind is coming just like this prostitute, to distract us from spiritual practice. So what we should tell our mind? Tavat tumi bashi suna nama sankirtan. Rascal mind, sit and shuna nama sankirtan. Nama samapte hoile karimu je tomaraman. So when the holy names chanting is completed, then I will try to fulfill, don't worry, but don't disturb now. So hearing this, the prostitute was sitting there. It became morning, she got up and left. She informed Ramchandra Khan of what happened. And she said, actually, today he has promised he will enjoy with me and I will have union. So Haridas Thakur again, next night when he sees her, what he says to her, last night you were disappointed, but please excuse my offense. I shall certainly accept you. Please sit down and hear the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra till my chanting is finished. Then your desire to enjoy will be fulfilled. So now she again sits. Because Haridas has not said, I will not accept. He said, I will accept. I will enjoy. Tulasi ratta ke veshya namaskar kori, dware vasi nama shune, bole hari hari. Tulasi ratta ke, offering her obeisances to the Tulasi plant, veshya namaskar kori, and she thought, anyway, I have to sit here. And she was hearing the chanting for the first night. By the second night, the hearing had an effect. Dware vasi nama shune, bole hari hari. And then she also started chanting. She was thinking, anyway, time pass hi ho raha hai. Baki kuch nahi to hari hari bol lenge. So Prabhupada mentions there was a discrepancy between the mission of the prostitute and the mission of Thakur Haridas. The prostitute's mission was degradation and Thakur Haridas' mission was elevation. So the dialogue was going between both, and both were dedicated to their mission. And Thakur Haridas also therefore saw a soul has come. Why should I allow the soul to go away? So Prabhupada says, the process of deliverance consists of 5 things. Number 1, association. Number 2, faith. Number 3, one must have reverence. Number 4, chant and hear the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And 5th, satisfy the great souls, even by occasional chanting. Therefore, this Sangha, this Pranam, and this Nama, Tulasi ratanke vaishya namaskar kori, dware vasi nama shune, bole hari hari. And this chanting of the holy names leads to cleansing of her consciousness. So she became restless. As the night ended, she spoke to Haridas Thakur as follows. Haridas Thakur spoke to her in the morning as follows. Koti nama grihana jagya kori ek mase ei diksha koriyachi ei hoila asisheshe. I have taken vow of chanting Koti Nama Yagya Mase. In full month I will chant 1 crore names. Koti Nama Grihana Yagya Kori Eka Mase. In 1 month 1 crore names. E Diksha Koriyache Hoila E Sheshe. But that rounds are still remaining. But now it is coming to its end very soon. I thought I'll be able to finish today, but I could not finish. But it will still happen very soon. It looks like it will happen tomorrow. Kali samapta hobe tabe habe brata bhanga swachhande tomara sanga hoibe ka sanga. So Kali Samapti, tomorrow looks like the end, Hobe. Tabe Hobe Vrata Bhanga, this Vrata will be ended tomorrow of 1 crore chanting. Swachhande Tomara Sange, Hoibe Ka Sanga. Then after these rounds are finished, Swachhande Tomara Sanga. I will enjoy in your association like anything. So when the mind is agitating us with various prospects for sense gratification, all we need to do is request the mind to postpone the plan, and in that time period of postponement, inundate the mind, bathe the mind with chanting of the holy names to such an extent that after sufficient bathing of the mind in the holy name, the original idea would have disappeared. So therefore he says, Kali samapta hobe tabe, hobe brata bhanga, swachande tomare sange, hoibe ka sanga. So tomorrow I will enjoy with you peacefully. The prostitute returned to Ramchandra Khan, explained what happened. Next day she came earlier, stayed with Haridas Thakur. And she began to hear, and she also started chanting Hari Hari. Haridas Thakur said, today it will be possible for me to finish my chanting, then I will satisfy all your desires. The night ended. Haridas Thakur continued chanting. By the time it was morning, the prostitute's mind changed. She fell at the feet of her Thakur Haridas and confessed how Ramchandra Khan had appointed her to pollute his consciousness. And therefore, please deliver a fallen soul like me. Thakur kohe khaner katha sabe ami jani, agya murk sei tare, dukha nahi mani. Khaner katha, I know all the activities of Ramchandra Khan. Sabe ami jani, I know this. He is agya murk sei. He is foolish. He is actually a stupid fool. Tare dukkha nahi mani. I am not affected, I am not unhappy because of what he did. Because on the very day that you came, I realized Ramchandra Khan has created a conspiracy and an intrigue and a plot against me. I was ready to leave instantly. But I saw you and I thought I should stay for 3 days to deliver you before I go. बेश्या को हे कृपा कोरी करह उपदेश की मोर कर्तव्य जाते जाए भव क्लेश. The Vaishya, the prostitute, with great feeling she says, Vaishya ko hi kripa kari karah upadesh. Please instruct me and give me instructions. What is that? Ki mora kartavya. What is my duty? Jate jai bhava klesh. And how can I be free from the miseries of material existence? Kripa kara prabhu mora jato ma sange, sahite na pari dukkha bishaya tarange. In South India, the Kurma Brahman tells Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please take me with you, because the waves of material existence is intolerable. Prabhu kahe aiche baat, kabhu na kahibo, grihe rahi Krishna nama, nirantar loibo. The way to be free is not to leave the home, but to stay at home and continue chanting the holy names. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him to chant. Thakur ko he ghorer dravya brahmaner karadan, ei ghore asi tumi karah bishram. Thakur said, you do not have to leave your home. You have to leave, you do not have to abandon your home. You have to abandon your consciousness of being the proprietor and enjoyer of this home. Thakur khare ghorer dravya brahmane koredan. Because all the items which you have earned here are out of your sinful activities. Ghorer dravya brahmane koredan. So give to the brahmanas in dan. Ei ghore asi tumi koriha bishram. Then you come back to this same home. So Prabhupada mentions this, that this is the principle of charity which was given to the Vaishya by Thakur Haridas. And then he says, first you give in charity, and then निरंतर नाम लो कर तुलसी सेवन औचिरात पाबे तबे कृष्णेर चरण. Nirantar naam lao. Continuously chant the holy names. Nirantar naam lao. Kar tulsi ra sevan. And serve Tulsi Maharani. Achirat pabe tabe. Krishnera charan. And very soon you will attain the lotus feet of Krishna. So Prabhupada says, step 1. Surrender. Then question arises. Either you can surrender or you cannot surrender. Suppose you cannot surrender. Then what you should do? Step 2. Chant constantly and serve Tulsi Maharani. So constant chanting and service to Tulsi is primarily a help for those who cannot do Atma Samarpan, who cannot do surrender. And when you follow this process gradually, you will be able to surrender. Tabe sei Vaishya Gurur Agya Loila Gruhabitta Jeba Chila Brahmanere Dila. Gruhabitta Jeba Chila. Whatever she had, house, wealth, Brahmanere Dila, distributed to the Brahmanas. Why? Tabe sei Vaishya Gurur Agya Loila. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport, what is the meaning of Griha Vritti? Griha Vitta Jeba Chila. So Griha Vitti means, number 1, the products earned by one's profession is Griha Vitta. What you earn through your profession. Number 2, if the profession is sinful, those products are also sinful. Therefore, number 3, the possessions should be given to the Vaishnava. By that, it indirectly helps the person who is sinful and relieves him of sinful reaction. And therefore, number 4, Prabhupada says, we are therefore collecting life membership fees to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. But he says the devotees themselves are satisfied just with simple living and prasadam. And not that the devotees have desire for material comforts. They simply have desire to engage all these possessions in the Lord's service. So therefore, a devotee preacher can accept money and contributions. But for what purpose? Not for sense gratification, because he thinks unfit to even free one person from sinful life. But he accepts this. For what? Engages the hard-earned money in Lord's service. He frees one from sinful life. And third, a Vaishnava Guru is not dependent on the contribution of his disciples. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while giving instructions to Vasudeva Datta, he says, Grihastha hoye na iha chahiye sanchoy, sanchoy na koile kutumba, bharana nahi hoye. Sanchoy na koile, if you do not save, then how will you do kutumba bharan? Not possible. So therefore you have to save. So these are the 3 duties of a guru. Engage the hard-earned money of a disciple in Krishna's service. Number 2, free the disciple from sinful reaction. Number 3, not be dependent on those contributions. It is not that his business will stop if the disciples stop giving. Like that. রক্ষকেরা হাত মুই কে মনে ছুটিবা কে মনে প্রভুর সঙ্গে নীলাচলে যাবা. So similarly, Raghunath Das Goswami was also coming from a very wealthy family. And Mahaprabhu will be speaking very heavy words about the family. But he was also very eager to go and join Mahaprabhu. Tulasi sevan kore charvan upabas indriya damana hoila premera prakash. Some beautiful points are mentioned. First, serve the tulasi. Second, eat simply. Third, fast diligently. We do opposite. We eat voraciously and fast hardly. So he's ulta. He's saying eat hardly and fast frequently. Tulasi sevan kare charvan upavas indriya damana hoila premera prakash. Then fourth, control the senses. When you do these four, then gradually premera prakash, prem started developing in her body. And at that time, this prostitute, by the power of being purified by the chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prasiddha Vaishnavi hoila Parama Mahanti Bada Bada Vaishnavatar Darshanete Janti. Prasiddha Vaishnavi hoila. She became very famous Vaishnavi. Parama Mahanti. She became very advanced in spiritual life. And what is the symptom? Bada Bada Vaishnavatar Darshanete Janti. And big established Vaishnavas and Acharyas were coming to take her darshan and blessings. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport, stalwart, highly advanced Vaishnavas are not interested in seeing prostitutes. So one should not think because she was ex-prostitute, therefore they were coming. They are not interested in seeing prostitutes. But when a prostitute or any other fallen soul becomes a Vaishnava, stalwart Vaishnavas are interested in seeing them. Second, anyone can be turned into a Vaishnava if he or she follows Vaishnava principles. Third, it is the strict adherence to the practice of Krishna consciousness which is considered, not country or birth. Fourth, a Vaishnava is a Vaishnava and should therefore be given all respect due to a Vaishnava. That is Prabhupada's conclusion. Everyone was astonished seeing the sublime character of this prostitute, and everyone glorified the influence of Thakur Haridas. And so, Thakur Haridas changed the character of the professional prostitute. And so we should have appreciation, respect and glorification for such a great Vaishnava as Thakur Haridas.